Hello friends, in this second part of jQuery tutorials video, we will try to learn jQuery features, and in this we will cover jQuery core, jQuery selectors. So let us start with jQuery core. jQuery accepts a string surrounded with double quotes that can contain a CSS selector which is used to match a set of elements on the page. Okay, jQuery can be used as jQuery means when you are writing the jQuery code, you can prefix your jQuery code either with a jQuery word or with the dollar symbol. So in this particular code snippet, either you write your code in as like this, or you just replace the jQuery word with a dollar. Both will work in the same way. Now let us see the example of this. So let me open the code and I will go to jQuery core here. Now let us run this particular page. So jQuery core. Okay, so this is my jQuery core. When I run this, notice that the CSS style, that is border of green color and 1 pixel, is been specified. Let us see this. div is nothing but this div, so I am selecting this div element, and CSS I am specifying border is 2 pixels, solid and green color. Now instead of this, do not worry about this thing because we will cover it later on in this particular video or in the forthcoming video. Now instead of dollar, I could have simply write jQuery, and let us run this file once again. You can see that I am getting the same behavior as I was getting when I had kept dollar. Okay, so ideally it is suggested to use the dollar symbol because it decrease the size of your code. When you are writing 6 character word, or you are writing only 1 character, naturally this 1 character code will be small in size. So we should use this dollar symbol if you are going to write jQuery code. Okay, now let us proceed and see jQuery selectors. Now you may ask a question, what is selector? Okay, selector, to work with an element on the web page, first we need to find them. If we will not able to find any element, we will not be able to work with that element. So in order to find the HTML element in jQuery, we use selectors. jQuery provides many selectors out of the box. Let's explain some of the very useful selectors in how to ways here. So actually this is wrong, so let me explain. Now first let us see all selector. To select all elements of the page, we can use all selector. For that we need to use asterisk character. So let us see here. So selectors and all selector. Here what I have done is that I have many HTML element, h3, div, p, and all other element. Here I have used HTML selector. In this case, what will happen is that because I have specified all, so all the element of my page will get selected, and it will be applied with border 5 pixel, dashed style, and then green color. So let us go and see selectors and all selector. You can see that all my element has been applied with the CSS style that I had specified here. Now let us change the green to maybe blue and refresh this page. You can see that the border color has been changed to blue. So that was the all selector, where we need to specify the asterisk symbol, asterisk character under the double inverted comma. This is the way to write the jQuery file, jQuery code. So first we need to keep the dollar symbol, then under bracket we need to specify our selector under inverted comma, and then we can specify any property or any behavior I want to apply to the masked element here. Now let us proceed with the next selector, and that next selector is class selector. So let us go to the class selector page. Now let us learn class selector. To select an element with a specific class, class selector can be used. In order to use the class selectors, we need to prefix the class name with a dot. So like this. Remember that. Note that here class 1 is my name of the class, and I have prefixed the name of the class with a dot. So let us see an example here. See, in this page what I have done is that I have written dollar under bracket and under inverted comma dot class 1. Class 1 is nothing but the attribute that is specified in this particular HTML element, and I am specifying its border to 5 pixels, solid and red. So this particular paragraph will be applied with this CSS style. So let us run this page. Go back, class selector. You will notice that this class 1 has been applied with the CSS style that I had written in the page. Now let us change from red to green, and let us refresh this page, and now it has come to green. So here what we used class selector, where I prefix the class name with the dot symbol, and that particular class has been selected. Now let us proceed with another selector. That selector is element selector. Now what if I want to select an HTML element from the page? So in this example I want to select all the paragraph element of my page. So let us go and see the element selector. Here what I want to do is that in this page I have many HTML element. Okay, so here I want to select all the div element. So in this case it will be selected this and this. I have only two div element here, and these two div element will be applied with this CSS style. So let's go and see. So element selector, you can see that first div and this is the second div. Now what if I would have changed this div to input, means this. Let us run this page and see. You can see that I have only one input tag, so the border style has been implemented on only one HTML, one input element. Now let us see the another selector, and that selector is ID selector. To select an element having a specific ID, we can use ID selector. In order to use ID selector, we need to prefix the ID of the element with hash symbol. So in this case what we are doing is we are selecting the HTML element whose ID is p1 and applying this CSS attribute, CSS style. Let us go to the ID selector page and see. So here you can see that I am trying to select the element whose ID is div2. So in this case this is the element whose ID is div2, and I'm applying the border 5px solid and green color. Let us go to the ID selector and see this. You can notice that this particular div has been applied with the CSS that I had written here. Now let us change the red color border to green color, green color border to red color, and you will notice that the border has become red now. The next selector is multiple selector, where we will be able to select multiple elements by providing multiple selectors into the single line of jQuery code. So let us go to the multiple selectors here, and let us write the code. So in order to multiple selector, what we need to do is that we need to separate the different selectors separated by comma. So here what I want to do is that I want to select div2. It means that this div element, and I want to select another paragraph whose id, another element whose id is p1. It means that this one. Okay, so let us see. This is div2. So in this case, what will happen? This border style will be applied on this paragraph as well as on this div element. Let us go and see the multiple selectors. You can see that it has been applied on this and this. Let us change the color to maybe red and refresh the page once again. You can see that the same style has been affected here. Now after multiple selector, let us learn attribute selector. Attribute selectors help us to select a particular HTML element based on the attribute. Okay, now you may ask, what is attribute? Attribute is nothing but a kind of value that we specify for a particular element. For example, here id is an attribute, type is an attribute. Let us go to the attribute selector page and learn how to use attribute selector. So in this case, what I have done is that I am trying to get the input element whose id is equal to txt name. Here I have two HTML elements, but only this HTML element will be selected because I have specified id is equal to txt name, and I want to set its value to my data. Let us see the attribute selector. You can see that its value has been changed to my data. Let us concentrate on this particular code once again. You must have noticed that in other selectors, what we were doing is we were writing the selectors under inverted comma, double inverted comma, but in the attribute selector we need to write our code, means selector code, in single inverted comma, but the attribute value, that is here in this case it is txt name, the attribute value should be written in double inverted comma, and this is id is nothing but this. So what if I would want to select both? Then I will have to specify type here, and type is text, so I will have to specify text here. Now let us run this page, and you will notice that in the both text boxes my data has been written. Okay, now our next selector is first child selector. Okay, so this is particularly used when you have a parent element and under that you have multiple child elements and you want to select the first child. So let us go to the page that will help us to understand it better. So here you can notice that I have a div element. Under this div element I have three paragraphs, paragraph 1, paragraph 2 and paragraph 3. What I want is I want to select the first paragraph. Okay, in that case I will use first child selector. So in this case, what I will have to do, I will have to first write the parent element. First I will have to first select the parent element, that is div2, because I am selecting based on the id, so I'll have to prefix with the hash key, and then I want to select all paragraph. So all paragraphs I have written p, but I want to filter only the first child. So this is the first child, so paragraph 1 is the first child, and I have specified background color is equal to red. So let us go to the first child selector. So first child selector, and you notice that its background color has been changed to red. Now let us proceed with the next selector, that is last child selector. This selector will help us to select the last child of the parent element. Let us go to the last child selector. So in this case I am still doing the same thing. For what I want to do is that I want to select the paragraph 3 because that is the last in the div. So what I have done is that first I have selected the div element, that is my parent, and then I have selected all the P, but I have filtered with the last child, so it will give me the last paragraph of the div element, and it will apply the background color as red. So let's go to the last child selector. You can see that paragraph 3 has been applied with the background color as red. Let's proceed further and see the nth child selector. Okay, let us go to the nth child selector and then talk about this. Now let us say that your scenario is that you have a parent element called div2 and you do not want to select first element, and neither you want to select the last element, but you want to select the third element or maybe second element, because here we have 4 elements. So if we need to select the first element, we will simply use first child selector. If we need to select the last element, we will use the last child selector. But what if we want to select any element that is in between? So for that we need to use nth child selector, and this is the way. First we need to select the parent and then the element that we want to select. So here in this case we want to select the paragraph, and then I want to filter with the nth child, and we need to specify the index of the child. So in this case I have specified 2, so this will be selected. Remember that here index start with 1, not with the 0. So this is the paragraph 1 and this is the paragraph 2. So my paragraph 2 will be applied with background color as red. So let us see here, nth child selector, and you can see that paragraph 2 has been applied. Let us manipulate this code again and let us select the third element. So my paragraph 3 should be applied with the background color as red. Let us refresh this page and you can see that paragraph 3 has been applied with the background color as red. So we are done with the selectors. Let us see what we have learned as part of this video. First we learned what is selector. Selector is the way of finding an element from the page. We learned all selector that help us to select all the element of the HTML page. We learned class selector that helps us to select a particular element having a specific class. We learned element selector that helps us to select all a specific type of element on the page. Then we learned multiple selector that allows us to provide multiple selector in the same line separated by comma. And we also learned attribute selector that helps us to select any HTML element based on its attribute. And we learned first child selector that helps us to select the first child of the parent. We also learned last child selector that helps us to select the last child of the parent. And at last we learned the nth child selector that will help us to select the specified child of the parent element. In the next video of this series we will learn Jquery attributes methods. Thank you.